All right, cyber traders, welcome on back here this Wednesday afternoon, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time, March 20th, that is. Great to see all of our students and members just joining us here. We had Andrea just before, Kathleen, Brad, Luis, Grant, and all of our students and members just joining us there. Just give me a quick chat back. Let me know if you could hear me loud and clear. A couple of housekeeping notes to begin, folks. As always, just let me know if you could hear me at least, though, on social media as well, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, etc. But folks, keep in mind, this trading room is mainly for call outs and mainly for just simply trading. We're focused on our trading strategy here as a whole. So for reference here, GOEV to begin. Let me ask, did anyone jump in on this trade at least off the 320 level? It was one from earlier today. It was on our side list to start. Wasn't on our main list to begin, but it started to creep up in the mid to late morning. And really across that time, we were calling it out from there, saying it may have some resistance up top around 343. Had a big shake from there. But hey, at 124, I came off a coaching call with one of our new gold students, and I was telling him as I finished up, as I wrote to you actually in the chat, I wrote this right here, popping up on the top right for you right now. It should say GOEV looking for a rebreak over 320. Now, here's where I was wrong on this. I was a little more cautious than I guess I should have been, but I was looking for that to happen after the Fed meeting ended up concluding, right? After more volume at least came into that trade. This did not want to wait. This ended up making such a clean break right through that big level on the way up. So that's what led to a pretty simple entry, folks. This is what we are mainly focused on in this main chat, and especially this type of stock too, right? This type of stock, not just because it's cheap, mind you, but look at the order book, folks, for Kathleen, Bill, Steve, Charles, Luis. Let me ask you, what's the spread on this stock, just like basically, generally speaking? Maybe it's jumping a small bit, but generally speaking, what's the spread right now as we're sizing the stock up? What do we got? Sam, Grant, yeah, like just about 2 cents, 1 to 2 cents. This is a lot easier for you to make an intelligent decision with your money compared to a stock like DWAC. Apples to oranges, completely different. Now, we like this stock. We like this stock, and we've traded the stock back from the end of January into February. But even back then, we killed it on this longer green candle. But I remember this like the back of my hand. I was saying to you then, and I'll scream it from the mountaintops right now, as I almost knocked my microphone over, actually. This stock has a horrific spread. If you want to go to the casino, roll the slot machine, play poker, play black, I can't force you. I can't twist your hand, right? Twist your arm, whatever the phrase is, right? So you are in control of your own money. If you look to trade a stock that has this big of a spread, it's on you. All right. And just as far as what we're calling out in this trading room, we are mainly focused to stocks that we want you to trade in terms of liquidity. We don't care what the stock does as far as like news, meaning that, like, hey, left or right, up or down, that should not affect your decision to trade this stock or not. It is simply the lack of volume. And that's where I say it's not worth watching, because if our whole philosophy here is to follow the big money, and there is no big money on this here order book, what are we doing? Right? That is kind of my conclusion there. So with that said, GOEV, we're going to put this on our list just because it's pushing up across the afternoon. If it wasn't, holding as strong near the highs, I wouldn't be interested in this trade. But, hey, that doesn't mean it's going to continue. We want to see this make a higher low, higher high. That's what we were focused on just before. So GOEV, a stock like GOEV, will definitely add to our list. Hopefully there's a lot more that looks like this. Hey, even earlier today, I was slightly dismissive of the crypto stocks. Mara, Riot, CLSK. I know Chris and a few of our students were hammering it on these stocks. And these are great ones to focus on too. Great liquidity, great order book. Folks, we got the phase 1 stock course next week. That's where we're going to really break down just volume, how to follow the bid and ask, and where to find it just on your platform. If you haven't gone through those classes yet, then I'd say that you should not be trading just yet, but you want to make sure you follow stocks that have tight spreads, good liquidity, and this definitely fits that shoe, right? So, this morning I was more attached to a few other stocks. I missed out on this. It was a good push, Mara at least, and CLSK. We love these stocks. They have decent volume. This, I'll tell you, is opening up a little bit. Notice how this is thinning out a bit, opening up a little bit. So just keep that in mind. This might become a little thinner over time the more this pushes up in price. Now, Coinbase, obviously, the more expensive this stock is, of course, we're going to say like the spread naturally should open up, right? So, just Coinbase made a nice morning push. It's not as strong at least now. Um, all right, so that was kind of just my whole little housekeeping. Just in terms of tradability, we want to focus on stocks that we could at least make an intelligent decision on, not just looking at news and of course it could go up, it could. But when there's no volume on the order book, when it's much harder to see the volume on the order book, what are we doing? So that's where we'll talk more about just the overall markets. We ended up seeing the Fed rates remain unchanged. And actually, as I'm talking right now, I have a little competition at this time. So let me show you my Benzinga news feed because I can only imagine that my best friend Jerome is talking a lot right now. All right. Yep. Here we go. It's like a whole machine here, like the whole thing coming in here, the news headlines. So Powell says path forward is uncertain, says the GDP, blah, 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 blah. So these are all headlines that obviously that are being tossed out right now, and that will affect the stock market. All right. Well, how will that affect the stocks that we trade? Right. So, of course, if we happen to see a lower low coming up here on the SPY and a full fledged reversal the other way, it'll be a good afternoon to short. Right. Definitely be a good afternoon to short. One new headline coming in right now, I just see from Benzinga. Powell says our policy rate is likely at its peak, says likely to cut the rates at some point this year, says prepared to keep the rates high longer if needed. Isn't that contradictory? All right, whatever. So that's what I say. There's a whole bunch of different headlines out there right now, and if there's anything moving well with the market in a particular direction, we'll focus on that just at the tail end here. What we'll do is go right from top to bottom now and see what we could add here, at least here. All right. XTLB. I actually got back from a run right before the meeting started here. I knew things were going to be slow going into 2 o'clock. So like right at like 1:40ish, I was like, all right, Rich, just watch the room for a sec. Went for a nice little mile jog, got back. So got a fresh mind, fresh lungs, and we are good to go here. So XTLB, flat. Pass on that. Sizu. In terms of just like choppiness, is this really what we want to follow? Especially with the lack of liquidity on the order book there. Probably find a lot of like washed up stocks now at this point. TRUG, this actually had a good push at the open. Nice pop in the morning session here. At least the stock made pre-market, then at the open, it tried, then it came back down. All right, we keep it going though. Ladder, LIDR, at least TerraWolf. This stock actually has earnings coming out, I think, if not, was it later on today, Rich, or is it even from yesterday, this stock? Earnings out, I think either today or from yesterday, but they're at the highs, right? This is a crypto mining stock, so similar to Mara, similar to that CLSK. I'll get back to the mainstays at the end, Mara and CleanSpark. I think one of us was asking about this one. Looking a little bit stronger now as I'm talking. Just popping right back up to make a new high of the day. All right, so maybe I'll slip the CLSK on our list for now. Definitely making a stronger move right now here. And then also Wolf, WULF. That's a little bit slower of a mining company, but I think with earnings that came out recently or coming out after, this is actually holding pretty nicely. Might make a more volatile push. The Mara trade, just kind of keep that to the side. If you do well on that stock day to day, then I definitely recommend and advocate for you to trade it. But CLSK is kind of looking stronger. Irene, this is another crypto miner. This one's also looking pretty good. This is one I've told you to keep an eye on of late. Just the more this kind of pushes up towards $6, $7, $8, $10 per share, this will catch on more people's radars and it'll become an even more reliable, crypto stock, kind of like how CLSK became. So I do like Irene. I'm not going to add everyone now. There's my GoF stock EV company right there. So love this trade in from that 318, 320-ish area. IMRX, Cypher, CIFR, and little mining company here too. Definitely making a strong push back up. This one is here as well. Let me just kind of go through the rest of the gainer side here first, see if there's any other like non-crypto stocks we could also like kind of, fall back on as a crutch. We don't need to just do the crypto stocks, right? I don't want to just fall in love with that one sector. This did not make the push really up toward. We got close there, Charlene, right? I think one of my students here, Charlene, I was chatting with her earlier. She had a great entry on this trade at 270. I was talking to her in the morning on that. I was saying, oh man, if this could end up holding 280, perhaps we can, get out at 3. And she had a sell order right under there. It just it ended up kind of topping off at like 295. Came back down. So, when it doesn't go perfectly according to plan, right? Perfectly, it's like, all right, you got to get out a little bit sooner than anticipated. But I'm sure that she still did really well on that trade. Just drop back now. But what else we got? What else we got here? I see just all the crypto stocks. That's it, and I don't want to just go through those. Let's go through the loser side here. If there's anything else looking good from the gainers, like just let me know in the chat. This stock I didn't even mean to click on. Honestly, it was just top percent loser, 16 cents a share. Yeah, not for me. All right, bunch of crap that's hard to borrow. So transparently enough, if it's hard to borrow, I really kind of just skip over it unless if it's down like a lot. Look for a dead cat bounce. But yeah, I mean, not really much else looking good from the loser side though. It's easy for me to go through there. Jinko Solar, JKS also coming off earnings there. MGNI, not bad, not bad, not bad. Magnite, decent spread, kind of thin tier size there, a little bit thin order size here and there, but I guess it's dropping off. Like it's tradable. If you want to really, as I said earlier, twist my arm and put this on the watch list, I could. But let's just go back to the SPY. We are ready for liftoff. It looks like it looks like we're about to blow right through the ceiling here. It looks like coming up. So hopefully this continues. But getting back to at least CLSK, that's already kind of on our list. Mara is definitely making a stronger push back up. Perhaps I'll kind of slip that on the main list now at this stage. Nvidia, obviously. It's kind of just in consolidation still on the daily chart, right? It was pretty strong back a day or two ago. It was up like 5% in the afternoon, but for now it's gonna be on our side list there. Nothing too special about that today, or at least this afternoon. If you do well on NVIDIA option calls day to day, then you know who you are. Let's check out the scanner here before we finish up. ANVS, WORX. When I'm getting stocks like this here, again, that's like kind of my cue. So I think that's pretty much it for myself. There's not much else that I really see that I'm, too much in love with. Kathleen on Nordstrom. I keep forgetting their name, Nordstrom here. It's moving up a little bit. Stock from yesterday, rumor with them potentially going private. Well, I'll tell you, we don't have a big list. So, it's a non-crypto stock too. That's all I could really ask for at this point. It's not up that 5%, but just coming off of yesterday's news, at least, it's moving back up towards those highs. It is tradable, has good spread, good order book at least. All right, I'll bite. I'll bite for now. Put it on our list. If there's anything else though, maybe even up more, maybe even moving sharper than this. Like, let me know. I'll definitely be open ears if there's anything else looking like that or has a good order book. This AI trade just going through my side list all over the freaking place. Carvana is stock that likely won't have good volume, so just wanted to kind of poke at it there. DraftKings. Yeah, DraftKings at least, right? It's not at the highs of the day. That's the issue, but it's still a great swing trade there, Abdul. We were calling it out namely as a swing trade from the last few days from the beginning of this week. Still absolutely is. That's kind of my thoughts, though. If it was closer towards like 45 or even 45.20-ish, that rounded top, I'd be more like just keen to just put it on there. But, it's tradable. Going back to Sizu, this thing is a chop fest. Again, bad volume on the book for this one just all together, so no great need to put this one on our list. Checking out YouTube. If there's anything else on YouTube, Facebook Live, etc., just let me know. From Luis J. Powell said that they would be selling securities. Will that affect the market significantly? He didn't elaborate. A throwaway comment. Yeah, it could be. And you're right. That's a good way to phrase it. A throwaway comment for sure. Like, very vague. Like, I don't think he's doing that to instill fear, of course. I don't think he has like malicious intent with that. But, of course, that's how it'll be taken, right? As far as when, how much, that's where I always come back and say, let's focus mainly on what the charts are showing us. Let's focus mainly on what the charts are showing us. I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about this. Well, first, yeah, I'm talking about this. Long term, we've been looking mighty fine. But even from here, I was saying to you, like maybe like at the midway point of last week, I'm like, well, in the event that we do continue to drop, like maybe at most we like fill a gap here. But otherwise, just we've been so strong going upward that is still my main like focal point. So regardless of like, uh, and as you put it, it's a great way of phrasing a throwaway comment. And, as I say, a more vague headline, I'll believe it when I see it. Right. And once we see a lower low, then we'll start talking about like how long will this downtrend continue for? Of course, will there be national or worldly news that could affect the overall economy? Of course, that always comes into effect. Obviously, we're heading into, well, we're just on the beginning of towards the election campaigns and all that stuff. Towards November. So, just vague comment here, right? If there might be some comment left or right, up or down that said, and that could affect the markets altogether, right? So we'll kind of react to it as we see it, take it day by day, basically, and also with that, just kind of follow what the charts are showing us here. Lower highs, well, maybe a lower low, but we didn't get it. So now we're pushing right back on up, blasting through new highs here on the way up to 520 for the SPY. You probably have some option calls that are looking to strike there or expire coming up at the end of the week. All right. Speaking of politics, I was filibustering there for a little bit. How about that? Brian says PLTR looking strong. It does, and that's why I was kind of just talking for a little bit longer, seeing if there was any other last stocks that we could slip on our main list. We do well on PLTR. We like this stock, and I will add this to our list just because it's at the intraday highs at least. Pushing up pretty nice. NVIDIA, again, just be mindful that, it's still just in consolidation as far as like the daily chart. It's not necessarily towards those all-time highs just yet again, but if you do well on option calls, and like I'd said previously, if you do well on them as day trading it goes, you know who you are, right? All right, folks. Hey, I think that's just about it for myself. Listen, we want you to focus on stocks that you have an easy time identifying the big money, not just the trend, knowing where the iceberg orders are, knowing where the big buyers and sellers are. For example, Dominic, one of our new trial members here joining us. And, we always say, just as a trial member, just really even sit back and just kind of take it lightly. Don't even look to trade really at all. But this is a great call out. It's on a stock, of course, we have on our list. Good spread, right? Good iceberg at 350. There we go. So we'll see what's in store for this GoEv trade among a few others here heading into the afternoon. I'll be back in the mic just in about 10 or 12 minutes, folks, for all of us just inside the live trading room. And then if you're on YouTube, Facebook Live, all of our social media streams and platforms alike, wait to the punch here. At Cyber Trading U, just on the lower left, if you're not followed or subscribed there just yet, feel free to do so. You'll know when we're going live, when we're not. You hit the notification icon there, most importantly. And then otherwise, if you're interested in taking the next step, joining us inside our live trading room, even including this afternoon commentary coming up, just scan that QR code on the top left of the stream right there, top left, and we'll get you situated there with a week-long trial. But otherwise, folks, I'll talk to everybody coming up soon. Take care.